Two Brothers Rant podcast numero trace 3. We are not talking about anything in specific today. Today we decided that we would go a little bit into our history, just talking about video games that we've played in the past and our current stance on the MMO genre as a whole. Words almost escaped me there.
They are hard.
English is hard, dog. English is hard. So, I think we should, of course, start it off with the first MMO that me and you both played together, which is, of course, Dark Age
of
of
Camelot.
Yeah. Good. DOAC.
Yeah. Oh, man. The perfect mixture of PvP, PvE, in my book.
Yeah.
When you have a community to level with, I would say that's probably a good mixture in there.
Mm-hmm. I think it's personally for me, yeah, it was a good mixture of PvP. It was a good mixture of PvE. I think also one of the good things that I think it did really well was having player ownership over the world.
Yeah.
In the form of the castle systems when they introduced frontiers and
realm versus realm.
Yeah, realm versus realm.
Yeah.
You got to take over castles and keeps.
Yeah.
They were yours.
And the owning more castle and keeps unlocked the ability to go to special locations on the map that you normally couldn't get to unless you had that unlocked.
Like Darkness Falls.
So, yeah. Darkness Falls is a big one. So,
yeah, I mean, it's interesting that no other MMO has really tried it since. You know,
right.
Not to the same extent that Dark Age of Camelot went. Dark Age of Camelot, you had full of castles, you could blow down the walls and break down the gates, and you know, you'd have magic casters on the wall firing fireballs at the approaching army, and the army people setting up trebuchets and catapults across the river and lobbing these giant flaming balls of death.
Yep.
Breaking down your walls and tearing up your shit, and you would have to defend it, and it would be really dope.
Beating down the doors.
Yep. And it's sad to see that no other MMO has really done anything new. I think what we see right now is a lot of MMOs have kind of fallen into the same grind in the same
let's be safe and follow WoW's platform. That way we don't lose and we don't win, but we keep people and make money.
The PvE the PvE roller coaster theme park kind of MMO.
You're gonna get gear on this boss, or you're not gonna get gear on this boss. You got a 25% chance.
Who's gonna find it? Who's gonna get it? We're gonna make you fight over it once it drops.
Oh my god! I got a piece of it. It's a 5% upgrade.
Woo! Yeah, I mean, it is disappointing to see that we haven't seen any MMOs that have come out with some like game changing levels of innovation. I do think we've had good MMOs that have come out since, of course, World of Warcraft and Dark Age of Camelot, which were the two games that we kind of primarily played. I mean,
yeah,
this is coming from somebody who's played EVE Online for 10 years. So,
well, I mean, realistically, though, the two MMOs that we played, we first started together, really, Dark Age of Camelot, and then we did RuneScape hard, too.
True.
Yeah.
True.
But RuneScape had that PvP style that we got into, too, with the Castle Wars at the time.
Right.
Before it, did all that other garbage.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting because I think the two kind of main things about both RuneScape and Dark Age Camelot that you take away that like games that have come out recently or even World of Warcraft now doesn't have is they were challenging,
Right.
right? I feel like games as they are now are theme parks. They're roller coasters. You're on it and then you're off it, and you really didn't have a whole lot of, you know, say or what to do in getting from start to end.
Following the path all the way to the
Right.
end. Yeah.
And not saying that Dark Age Camelot or RuneScape didn't have something like that, but Dark Age Camelot and RuneScape kind of let you discover your own way, right? You
Yeah.
could go to your own places and do that. And in at least Dark Age Camelot, the end game was never the PvE. Like you
No.
PvE'd so you could PvP, right?
Yes.
The end game
Yeah.
was player versus player for castles and keeps and towers, and that's what the end game content was.
Yep.
And
I mean, heck, you could even do that at level 24 with Didranky.
right, if you
Yeah.
wanted to go into one of the lower BGs, definitely. And
Yeah.
I don't think that necessarily focusing on PvE is a bad decision, but I think that too many MMOs put PvP by the wayside, right? And when you look at the nature of PvP based games, they last very fucking long, right?
Yeah.
Like League of Legends, you're playing the same game essentially you were playing 10 years ago, but every game feels different because you're playing against different people. You're playing against real people who do things that you don't expect, who do things that AI could never be programmed to do because they're not in that situation. Whether that's good or bad, because trust me,
Right.
PvP games come with their own kind of situation where, people are ass. However, I believe that, or I wish that more games would take PvP more seriously, as in the
Yeah.
MMO genre. And I wish that more games would take a really good hard look at the core features that has allowed EVE Online to thrive for as long as it has. EVE Online's fucking old, right? EVE Online's a 2003 release. It is older than World of Warcraft. And while it doesn't have the population that World of Warcraft has, it's been fairly consistent through that entire period on its player base in a slow, gradual increase. And there, like any other game, there's been trials and tribulations where, one patch has come out and people are like, this patch is shit, flips the table. And everybody fucking quits, and I'm going to unsub my 4 accounts.
Yeah.
Right? Like that happens. But by and large, EVE Online has been an incredibly stable MMO that has not declined. While you've seen probably hundreds of other MMOs that have come out, been released, been hailed as the next World of Warcraft killer, and then fucking died.
Yep.
Left by the wayside, you know? And
Yeah.
it's it's frustrating to see, right? Because you got so many games that had promise and could have been good, but they tried to be the World of Warcraft killer instead of determining their own identity, you know? And I think that ultimately killed off a lot of the MMOs that I was really interested in, like
Yeah.
Terra Online, which I had a max level character, which I had multiple max level characters in, and WildStar, which I played, but I never really got deep into, but I thought it was an interesting concept, but it was basically dead on arrival.
Yeah.
And you got
That
your older
game,
games
I
like
really
EverQuest.
wish that game would have taken off.
WildStar?
Yes. That one had, that was, I loved the concept. I don't, it was just dead on arrival, like you said. I don't know what happened with that. I think, so, between, you had EverQuest, which I've recently been back and playing a little bit and forgot how group oriented it is. I've noticed what WoW Classic is a really good example of. People want community.
Right.
and games nowadays are curtailed come to our massive multiplayer online experience carnival where you can choose to socialize or you could choose to just be a single player. That's not how MMOs work. Period. The end. I don't care how you slice it, how you cut it. You butter that bread 17 different ways. And MMO, and the purpose of why I always signed up to check it out was to have a community to play with in the game. If I didn't need that, I wouldn't have signed on to the freaking internet.
Yep. And I think
So,
things like Group Finder actively kill that.
absolutely it does. Absolutely.
And
There is a reason that classic WoW is doing as well as it has.
right.
So
Yeah. And I think that um really that's another reason why EVE Online has lived as long as it has, because you can play solo if you want to, but let me just tell you this outright: nobody plays EVE Online for the fucking gameplay. Like, nobody plays EVE Online because they want to press fucking F1 on an icon and watch lasers go fucking pew pew. If they did, EVE Online would be a much bigger game than it is today. EVE Online is a harsh, brutal game that will fucking beat the shit out of you every chance it fucking gets. But
yep.
it's great when you develop a relationship with people and you get to know people, and corporations and alliances are allied against you or with you, and you get to have all these relations with people who you never would have met otherwise, right? Like, one of my best friends, Patton, me and him bonded over EVE Online, and he's practically my brother now. Like, I would do anything for the guy, and I don't think that if we would have met on another MMO like World of Warcraft or like Knights of the Old Republic or even Star Wars Galaxies, that
Yeah.
we would have formed as close of a bond as we did. Because we bonded pretty closely over EVE Online because we were both around the same age, and we were the youngest kids in the corporation. We had no fucking clue what we were doing, but we tried anyways.
Yeah.
I think another thing that a lot of the MMOs are kind of missing today is um player ownership of the world, which kind of goes back into Dark Age Camelot owning castles, EVE Online, and owning star systems, or owning space stations, or owning,
Well, don't forget, even Dark Age of Camelot had housing too.
right. And Dark Age Camelot does have housing, right? That
Yeah.
too. But
That's
being
another thing that's missing in a lot of games too.
yeah,
Is I think housing is highly underestimated
underrated.
in
Yeah,
yeah in having that is a portion to keep the community.
I agree.
I think that certain games have tried to implement it, and they've implemented it wrong. Like they tried to implement it as a build your castle base, blah blah blah. This is like, no, just give the son of a bitch a house
Right.
that he can go to and decorate and hang out in and kind of store his treasures.
And the other
You
thing I
know?
think that a lot of MMOs mess up on is when they give you your player housing, they make your player housing like a crafting area. Like,
Mm-hmm.
instead of being, this area where you can design whatever you want to, then it becomes like, oh well, you could put like a couch or a chair here, but you need your crafter's table.
Yeah.
And you need, your stables, and you need your anvil, and you need this, you need that. And instead of like allowing you to have crafting areas within major cities or something like that, your personal house becomes a crafting area, which I'm sure some people love. But for me, when I would have a player house, I want to deck it out with all the cool fucking shit I do,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
want to have my mithril class weapons that fucking glow, that my old ones that I don't use anymore, above my fireplace. I want to have a
Yeah.
fucking dragon head over my door, right?
Yep.
I want to earn in-game rewards for things that I've done and be able to present them in my house for everyone to see.
Yep.
And I do think that's the thing, because like the only other game that I think about that has major player housing is like of MMOs that exist now is Final Fantasy. Because World of Warcraft doesn't have it. They tried with like
ESO does,
garrisons, whatever.
but
Oh
it's
yeah, I
horrible.
guess ESO does too, but I've
It's
never been in
horrible.
ESO
Hey,
housing.
don't even bother. There's so many money
Fair
restrictions on it, it
enough.
disgusts me. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah, I can put 2 items on the ground and then I'm out of hook points. Put it that way. Yeah. I could put a bed and one other item and then I'm out.
one other
So,
item.
yeah. Uh,
Oh.
I visited my house once to put the bed down and I said I'm done because it told me you have one more hook point available. I'm like, "Oh, exit." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um
Yeah.
I do think that that's kind of an issue with current MMOs is and I think that's also one of the things that really set me away, because I remember I really enjoyed Elite Dangerous. I really thought Elite Dangerous was a cool game, right? You get your own spaceship, you get to fly around, you can do trading, you can do bounty hunting, you can do piracy, you can do mining, you can do all this different stuff. But I felt like the problem with the game is that all the actions in the game were variants of the same thing, flying around, right?
Yeah.
Like you were either flying behind a pirate and shooting him, or you were flying to a different system. And I understand, oh my god, space simulator includes flying. Wow, who would imagine you do a lot of flying in the space game, right? But
Yeah.
it wasn't a problem with like the fighting and the flying felt fine, but the problem was is that there was no reason to do it. Right?
Right.
After you got to a certain point, after you had a certain amount of credits, you could buy a spaceship. There was nothing else to spend your money on, right? And then you look back at the time that you spent getting to where you are now, and you go, well, there's no end game. There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
There's no raid bosses. There's no great epic quest line. There's no journey. It just drops off. You get an anaconda or a fucking federal corvette, and then that's the end of the game. It's like you've achieved the biggest ship. Congratulations, right? Go do more shooting exactly the same way you've been doing it for the last month. And it's just, I felt like they had such a great opportunity to actually legitimately give games like EVE Online competition, right? Because they were like, we have these systems that are established systems that are owned by blah 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 Federation or the Empire, and then you have the rest of the entire galaxy that you can go explore. And it literally takes you months to fly from controlled Empire space to the other side of the galaxy. Like, actually physically takes you months
Oh my
to
God.
do it,
Uh,
which I thought was awesome, right?
I mean,
Because
don't
then
get me wrong, that's
I
cool.
could go set myself up like a gas station, goddamn, a month out, and then guess what? I'm gonna be like, I'm the only gas station in a month in any direction. You gonna come? You better come to me, right? But you can't do that. You can't set up space stations. You can't set
Yeah.
up waypoints. There's no way for you to interact with the world in a meaningful way other than you've destroyed an NPC or you've blown up a rock, right? Or you moved
Woo.
X amount of resource from one location to another location and deposited and you got paid. And I
Yeah.
felt like that was a huge missed opportunity by Elite Dangerous,
Yeah.
because they were in such a good place. Because when Elite Dangerous came out, people were fucking pissed with CCP and EVE Online. They were like, we're gonna fucking quit. We're gonna go play Elite Dangerous. Fuck you and your stupid Icelandic fucking game development company. We're gonna go work. We're gonna go play this fucking game. And Elite Dangerous came out and there was nothing to fucking do. And they're like, okay, sorry CCP, we're back. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? So, I mean, none of the current MMOs really scratch that itch, right? And as much as I hate to say it, EVE Online's kind of dying for me. I've played it for 11 years. 11 years. The last 3 of them, I've had 4 characters. It's like anytime I log on my own fucking fleet, I've had other corporations run away from me alone.
There's only so much juice you could squeeze out of an orange.
Right. And so, as much as I hate to say it, I really don't think EVE Online's gonna. I don't think I'm gonna be subbed for 2021 in EVE Online unless they do something
Awesome.
monumental to the game to change the way that the game feels currently. Which I don't think CCP is gonna do that. Mostly because of the fucking whiny ass nullsecers, and every time you fucking change something, they go Wah! Right. But you know.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Right, but I mean, and it's true. And I mean, to be fair, nullsec is a majority of the player base. Like nullsec just straight up is the most amount of players in the game. But the problem is nullsecers don't want the game to change. The nullsecers want to have PvP and only PvP, and that's it. They don't want to have any involvement to the game. They don't want to have the game change in any way. They just want to continue having their stupid fucking 2000 versus 2000 brawl fests at goddamn 10 FPS that takes 10 hours to fucking kill one goddamn ship because of tie-dye. God, I hate fucking tie-dye. For those who don't know, tie-dye stands for time dilation. It's something that EVE Online put in to effectively slow down the game so that when you have these gigantic 2000 versus 2000 fights that normal games would never be able to sustain and would crash and die and burn, they slow down the game up to 90% so that nobody's actions get skipped, right? So you know, you're not over here slamming down on a fucking button trying to make sure that it goes in. You can just click on it and it goes. It's just slow, which is very intelligent for what they have, especially considering, unfortunately, with the underlying code. I mean, I don't know what CCP is gonna do with EVE Online. It's in such a weird situation because a legacy code that they have, it does not have the ability to work off of multiple processors because multi-threading wasn't a thing in 2001, you know, or I believe they started the project in 1998, but multi-threading wasn't a thing.
To like start new coding to take over for the old code.
It's the fundamental underlining code for the game. You gotta understand, bro. If they started in 1998, by the time the multi-threading was a widespread, prevalent thing that was actually coming into personal home computing, they've been developing the game for 10 fucking years. It's kind of hard to overwrite 10 years of code. You know how many coders have gone through that shit? How many different hands have touched it?
That's a good point. Well,
and it's
ride that ship until it burns down, baby.
Dude, they've done their best to be able to work with the old code and rework it and make new systems. But like even now, they rework the integration with the chat function, like just the normal chat window. The chat window, the local chat window that everybody fucking uses, and it seems like every goddamn month the fucking chat window breaks, and you're seeing local from a different system. Like I'm sitting over here in my wormhole where I'm not supposed to have anybody showing up on local. I look on local and it's like, oh yeah, you've 843 other people in system with you because for some reason your local showing up as Goon Swarm headquarters in 1DQ. You're like, what? And you can talk to them, like messages will pop up, and you're just like, fuck.
What the hell?
And they've largely fixed it, but it's still like every other fucking month. It's like the thing fucking breaks again. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to be fair, in this day and age, most people are using Discord anyways, but still for your local chat, which not only is a form of communication, but is a form of intel gathering in EVE Online that is very important, for it to just be regularly breaking is kind of disheartening.
Terrifying.
Yeah, or terrifying.
Yeah. What do you think about these new MMOs that are coming out? Because we got New World, we got Ashes of Creation that appear to be coming up.
I don't know how I feel about New World. To be completely honest, I don't know how I feel about New World. Primarily because
I pre-ordered it to try it, and So I'm gonna give it a shot.
Oh, by all means, give it a shot.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying I'm not willing to give it a shot. I don't know how I feel about it. Mostly because I'm not sure how I feel about the way that they describe it being a survival open world MMO. That with me holds so many negative connotations because the first thing that comes to my mind when you say survival open world MMO is like Rust or Ark or you know Daisy, right? It doesn't really come to mind to me at least as a super polished, super well done, balanced MMO experience. It mostly comes off to me as like, oh yeah, you're gonna be fucking running around with 40 other people and you're gonna be shooting each other all fucking day, and maybe you'll form alliances, but most of the people you're gonna meet are gonna be cunts. You know, this is the way it comes off to me. Which I might be totally missing the mark. It might be the next big fucking thing, and that nobody's gonna anticipate it. It's going to be awesome. In which case, by all means, fucking good luck to you. You know,
they got rid of the open world PvP for that game.
For New World.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
The thing for me is it wasn't really the open world PvP that had negative connotation. It was the survival part that had the negative connotation, right? Because
no, they've gotten rid of that for the most part too.
Really?
Their their PvP is now based on sort of more Dark Age of Camelot. If you want to capture an area, you declare battle, certain time scales set, then you have a castle keep battle. Basically, you siege, they defend, kind of thing. So it's along the lines of Ashes of Creation in that point, except it's more keep versus keep than it is that.
Okay, so, well then I'm a little outdated on the information for that MMO. But yeah, I mean,
I've been talking with T. He's done a lot of the beta testing on it, and they've changed it a lot since they first started. They just haven't put anything out.
Yeah, that's probably good. Yeah. What?
So
yeah, because like when I think about like a survival game, I think of like you're going to start with fucking nothing, and it's going to be one of those games where if you die, you lose everything, and you have to restart, and you have to build everything, and I'm just like, dude, if I wanted that, I'd just go play Rust.
If I did that, I'd just go play Rust. Yeah, exactly. Fuck that.
Right.
Yeah. Especially when, as soon as somebody gets ahead on an MMO style like that, they never falter again. You know? Once a snowball effect starts on that, you're done.
Or once somebody gets a large population, fucking goon swarm walks in, it's like, sup, bitch?
Yeah, exactly.
Big dick on the table. You know,
it's like soldier ants in Africa, and everything's dead. Yeah. Oh god, I think Ashes of Creations though.
Ashes of Creation is a very interesting MMO. I'm really looking forward to it for multiple things. The node system really interests me, right? Because that is going to bring a large scale PvP experience like what we had in Dark Age Camelot. Which I don't think we've seen out of another MMO since.
Nope.
So that is something I'm definitely looking forward to. I think that should be really interesting. And Ashes of Creation, I like the fact that I like their class system. I really do. To be honest with you, having your main class and a subclass you get to pick halfway to max level, I think is going to be super fucking cool. Because you bet your ass I'm going to be a berserker bard or something stupid, right? It is something that you look at it from the outside and it seems too good to be true, right? You look at it, it's like it has all the features you could possibly ever want, literally every single fucking one. Like it's not missing anything. It checks all of the fucking boxes. If Ashes of Creation comes out, I would say with even 60% of the things that they promised at launch, it's going to be the best MMO. Period. Like just as long as their combat is well polished.
60% done well.
Yeah.
Mind you, they can do 60% and it looks like slop, and then it's
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but hearing the guy that's the CEO and owner, he's been the one that's been coming out. He's been talking, and here's my thing. I was concerned at first until I listened to multiple interviews with him talking to multiple people, because I'm thinking, like, in the back of my head, I'm going, this is No Man's Sky thing going on here. I was like, he's going to keep promising the world to everybody, and shit's going to keep
Yeah.
changing. So I kind of kept that in the back of my head, and I listened to 4 and then 5 and then 6 interviews, and his message was exactly the same in every one of the interviews. Nothing changed. He didn't curtail. He didn't sweeten it. He didn't buff it up. This is what's going on. This is what's happening. It's going to be awesome.
Right.
When it's done, this is what we want to do.
Right. So he has a determined list of things that he knows he wants to accomplish, and he's not adding on to them.
He's not being lavish with it, like say when No Man's Sky was coming out, and they'd be like, "Well, can you meet your friends out there?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, there's gonna be multiplayer."
But it's really unlikely
so
you'll never see anybody again. Because you're going to be so far away. There's going to be so many stars you'll never find each other.
Day one. Twitch streamers. Hey,
within
I'm here.
a few hours.
Here too. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I have a good feeling about this. And this game, because they said, they said, everything else, we're going to make what we want to make.
Right.
And if you don't like it, too freaking bad. Go play something else. And they're not, and this goes back to what I wanted to cover too with this is when MMOs like EverQuest, RuneScape, Dark Age of Camelot, I would say even WoW when it first came out. Mind you, Blizzard was a big publisher, but they were their own publisher under no one's thumb. Same with Mythic Entertainment. Same with, Sony Online Entertainment with EverQuest was their own thing at the time. Investors started coming in because of WoW's success. And that started curtailing games to, no, I don't care what you want to do with the game. This is the success. This is the thing we're going to use, which is WoW. I want you to make it as close as possible so we can get as much money. I don't care about your own ideas. Take those, scrap those figures, and this is what we want to do.
New things
and if
are
you
scary.
Don't like it, we'll just get you out.
Right. New things are scary. Let's stick with what we know works based off of the market.
Yeah. And that's literally as soon as that happened. And here's the thing: there was enough money going around where people were like, "Yeah, screw it, I'll make and I'll get my $200,000 a year as a tech programmer. So why not?
Right. Yeah. So. I mean, yeah, that's definitely something that I feel.
It really affected the genre.
Really affected
I think it really did
the genre. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing to see, right? Because it is disheartening because really you've seen it with just about every game developer and every game that has come out has had
the little investor fingers.
Right. Features put in the game not for the sake of gameplay, not for the sake of storytelling, not for the sake of entertainment, but for the sake of milking you for money.
Yep.
Right? And I think that as we move forward, we need to keep a very close eye on not only indie developers, but AAA developers especially.
Yeah.
Because the things that AAA developers have been pushing out to us in recent years have been ass. They've been broken at launch. It's taken weeks or months for them to fucking fix. Right? And
they're giving you a beta game and saying it's finished.
Right. In this day and age, everything launches in early access anyways.
Exactly, dude. And that drives me nuts. Right. Woe the days of you gotta went to GameStop. You bought a game like Assassin's Creed. And it is a polished, finished game. In your hands. Sit down. Play it all the way through, man.
Yep.
Now I get an Assassin's Creed game. Don't get me wrong. The last couple have been really good. I've enjoyed them. I played them all the way through. But, man, there is still some serious freaking bugs going on there, Holmes. Yep. So, and it's like I'll load up to get on it and see like, oh, you've got a 17 gigabyte update. Huh. Wonder what they found that was royally fucked there. You know.
Yeah.
So
Yep. I mean, it's yeah. I don't know. It is good to see that somebody is taking not only the time but the financial burden, because developing an MMO is one of the most expensive game development like processes you can fucking take on. But it's good to see that the person who is taking this challenge, who is trying to push the envelope for game development in the MMOs um, sphere, in the MMO genre, is a MMO player himself, right? Because I believe his name is Steven, the
correct.
COO
That's correct.
and owner. He is by far an MMO player. Like, without a doubt, he's an MMO player.
Yeah.
You know, and I think one of the things that makes me really hopeful is the last MMO he really played in depth was ArcAge. And I think ArcAge fundamentally was a great MMO. I played it. I thought it was a fantastic
I never played it,
MMO.
so I give it to you on that to say what it is.
I feel that ArcAge was a fantastic MMO. I feel like it was a fantastic MMO that was killed by its publisher. Just straight up. They started putting in putting in so much pay to win that it literally killed the game. And I think it came out recently with like ArcAge Unchained, but at this point, the damage is done.
Bad taste in the mouth.
Right. Yeah. The damage is done. Yeah. Like, you can't re-release an MMO and be like, oh, but this time we got you. Everything will be fine. Right? And it's like, listen, we understand it's a different company that's running it now, but still, dude, the community's been fucked on this. Technically, twice, because ArcAge released in Korea first and then came to the United States, and people were playing it on the Korean servers from the United States before they brought it over to the United States. And then you had those people transferred to the United States and then get fucked here. And it's just it's horrible to see. Yeah, it's a total circle jerk. And I don't know what is our fascination with Eastern MMOs. Like, I'm not saying that Korean MMOs are bad. Right. By and large, I think Korean MMOs are interesting. They're interesting games that come out in relatively polished and well-developed states. Yes. The problem I have with them is that they look at monetization completely different from the way we do.
Every penny.
When we look at a video game, we judge a video game's worth based off the achievements that we can earn in the game. And I feel like the culture over there isn't necessarily the same, because you see so many pay to win or pay to convenience features in their games, and their games are successful over there, right? And
you got to remember, there's on that though, their culture, some of their cultures over there, they limit the amount of time they can play.
Right.
So there has something to do with that. Not excusing it. That doesn't excuse it, but they can't time sync like we can.
Right. And yeah, I do understand that too. And then in certain situations, I do think pay to convenience can be nice. But at the end of the day, I'd much rather have a game without pay to convenience and without pay to win. Like, I have my standpoint on monetization is I have no problem with cosmetics. I have no problem at all with cosmetics. But when you start either putting game features in that you can pay to get around, or taking game features out that you can pay to get back, that's when I have a problem. Like, I think the most egregious one of these is inventory locks. Like a limit on inventory slots. I played an MMO called Mabinogi. Don't remember what it's called. But after a certain period of time, they took away half of your bank slots and half of your active inventory slots. after you'd already been playing the game. So you're sitting here and you collect all this stuff, and then they lock off half your inventory, and all the items that are in that locked off inventory you can't access until you free up your spot, which is the most scummiest thing I have ever seen in my life. Now, pray tell, that was about 4 or 5 years ago, and I haven't revisited the game, so maybe it's changed, but I kind of doubt it.
Dude,
So
yeah.
It's
Jesus.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Speaking of scummy, I'm gonna go in on this one a little bit.
All right.
So,
I'll ride with you.
Speaking of new MMOs, Camelot Unchained.
Okay.
Now, Camelot Unchained is supposed to be the heir apparent to our favorite MMO, which was Dark Age of Camelot.
Dark Age of Camelot.
Yep. Yeah. So, and it's made by the guy that made Dark Age of Camelot. A developer, he put it under City State, and Mark Jacobs is the designer. Now, I very nearly funded this with like a couple $1,000. I was stoked at the time. He's doing the full PvP, he's creating his own engine. He did crowdfunding, mind you, and the Dark Age of Camelot community, because that's all he had. He had Dark Age of Camelot community and some of the Warhammer community.
Right.
The community raised $4.66 million as of 2018 in May. That's just 2018. They're still accepting money from gullible people. And Jacobson said he contributed $5 million. I'll leave that wherever the hell I'll leave it. I really don't care at this point with that. Good for him. And then he raised an additional $7.5 million in investor money coming in, to a total, mind you, of a Kickstarter MMO, $17 freaking million. So there's another MMO that's catching flack, and that's the only reason this hasn't caught traction, is because of how scummy they've been doing it. But this needs to be called out at some point. It needs to be pointed out, because what Mark Jacobs has done, it is going on 8 freaking years, and literally you won't even have alpha testing besides weekend testing going on. If you've had a game in development for 8+ years and you had $17 million and all you can muster up is an NPC with a couple of backers testing, are you shitting me? Like, come on. I saw what you did with Dark Age of Camelot, and I saw what you did with Warhammer. Get wrecked. You're full of crap. And here's the kicker, right? This SOB, Mark Jacobs, used the money that he got, that people donated, and then investors donated. Whether he sold them on this garbage or not, there's still $5 million from people that kickstarted, not for this other garbage, but for his freaking game that he said he was going to do with Camelot Unchained. And that was, he made this game called Ragnarok, I think is what it's called. And it's a shit-off version of Smite. And that's coming out. That is coming out before freaking Camelot Unchained. And he announced it to the community and expected them to be happy. Guess what happened? People wanted fucking refunds. People said, go f yourself, buddy. You know? Yeah. And rightfully so. Because there ain't no bigger scumbag than what's going on right here. And over the years I've watched, thank God I did not donate to this D-bag. But come to find out, the inside stuff, because a lot of people have left, and word around the industry that's going, and it's low key. There's not a lot about it because nobody really is following this. It should get a lot more light, and this jackwagon should be underneath a freaking pit of fire, roasting for what he's done. I mean, he's destroyed an entire freaking community by doing this shit, mind you.
Right.
Is the fact I'm so hot right now. Hold on, let me get it. Whew. Yeah, so word around the industry is what he was doing the whole time. He's building a custom engine with a custom graphics engine, custom engine to run the game.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. Word from in people inside that have now left because of COVID, and they fired a bunch of people. People have left. They've had to hire more people. Big turnover. All that jazz. A big freaking surprise when you're running a freaking scam like this. Is that he is creating the engine in order to sell it at some point. So I would, and I'll go out and I'll say it now. and I'll apologize if I'm wrong, this game will never see the day of light. Ever. Ever. What I think you will see is you will see a Ragnarok to sell off the engine possibility, and then you'll just see this float into fucking nowhere. City State Entertainment will go away. It'll vanish. Mark Jacobs will get his freaking money, and he'll walk off into the freaking sunset. And everybody else in the industry will be none the wiser, and nobody will give him the flack. So, I used to be a big fan of the dude. I'd drop kick him in the nuts right now if I saw him walking down the street.
All right, so you don't think that Camelot Unchained ever is going to actually come out to release?
Absolutely not. We're at 8 years. We don't have a working beta or a working alpha, an actual alpha that you can run for more than a week.
Right.
That is how bad it is, dude. 8 years. That's bad.
Yeah, that's
17 million freaking dollars. And you cannot run. And then on top of that, you're like, oh, by the way, I've been developing on the side this other game. Cool. How many of the people did you get hire that are working on that shit versus the game that you asked everybody to invest in, Jackwagon?
That everybody wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah. That's my go-in factor for this week.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah. And I mean, that is 8 years.
So disappointing,
I didn't realize it had been that long.
Yeah, 2010, 2011. I think it was right around there. Let me verify that, but I think it's on 8 years. Crowdfunding. 2013. Oh, so 8 years at the freaking April. It'll be 8 years in April. April 2nd, 2013. April 2nd, the Kickstarter concluded on May 2nd, 2013, and had 14,873 backers, made $2.2 million in a month off the community. And then what they did is they started their own freaking website and continued to do it, and they were selling land. They were selling land plots, island plots, all that jazz. We're talking thousands of dollars, dude. There was one backing that was $10,000.
People probably bought it. Somebody probably bought it too.
They did. They had numbers tracking how many people bought each one, dude. The $10,000 and the $15,000 ones, there was like 20, 30 people that invested in that shit. Like, come fuck on, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
dude,
you know, the only other game that comes to mind when you think about a large crowd-funded MMO type game is Star Citizen. Even Star Citizen, for as much flack as people give Star Citizen for how slow its development has been, Star Citizen has made monumental progress on their development side, right? Because when they first started coming out, when they first started not only crowdfunding the game but developing the game, they weren't even using the engine that they are now. They had basically models of what they wanted to create and what they wanted the game to look like, and that was just about it. And they got a lot of model because Chris Roberts is a very, very charismatic person, and people really want a good space flight simulator, and I think it shows. But I mean, full disclosure, I've spent $860 on Star Citizen. I bought a few ships, and I'm a backer, and I like the game as it is now. I
think you're giving Star Citizen too much grief, dude. I don't think Star Citizen is a scam at all. No. I think it's just
I'm not saying it's a scam, but it is behind development. It's behind development by a couple.
Dude, you can get in and you can play the game. That's more than
true.
You can get in and play and fly your ship. If I bought it, I could not get in and play my avatar.
Right.
I could go play Ragnarok, baby. Ooh. You know? Ooh, fucking Smite! Ooh! If I want to play that, I'm just gonna play Smite! You know? Fucking, you know?
Yeah.
Like, dude, like, don't even get me started. I'm looking. I'm trying to find some of the stuff where they were selling it because they sold like the $10,000 shit and stuff like that for a while, and then it just went off the market completely, dude. So I'm trying to find where somebody screenshot this stuff. But there's another one that Lazy Peon has been pointing out and calling a scam for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's accumulated about the same amount of money as Camelot Unchained.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I think Camelot Unchained has had no heat because of that game. This needs to get traction. People need to see this garbage and see what this crap is. You know, it's and that's the whole thing. Now, I'll give them credit. They did the refunds when they had to. What are you gonna do though? What are you gonna do? You literally sold people a bag of garbage goods. So when you come out with a new game ahead of the game that you promised them, you better be able to freaking deal it out. And I don't care that the man put his own money in. Congratulations, dude. Hold on. So you match the money. You match the money that everybody else put in. It's still a freaking con, no matter how you do it, Home Skillet. You know, just because you conned your money in. Does anybody know where that money went, Junior? Huh? Who's the accountant? Oh, it's you? Okay, buddy. Yeah, okay. So until somebody sees something, woo, you know what I mean? Like, I put my own money in there. That's great. And there's pixie dust. You want some of that too? You know? Fucking.
Yeah, I mean, it was disappointing.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it is. Especially since I was a big fan of the guy. I was a believer of him in Dark Age of Camelot. He was the one that made that game, and he told people at the time, screw you, this is how we're doing it. We're making a PvP-based game.
Right.
He's doing it again, but here's the thing. This time he came in on that chariot hard, dude. He's like, I'm going to save the day, boys. There's no PvP. Woo! We're going to ride it in and we're going to get it. And that fucking chariot, nobody realized, it was scorching flames on the backside. He's like, as he rode by, just leaves you in flames and takes your money, you know? And you're sitting there running around, oh my God, I'm on fucking fire! You know? Fucking. So I'm just. So that's one to keep an eye on. That's one to keep an eye on. D-bags like this need to be pointed out. And like I said, the game comes out, mind you, within a reasonable period of time. If you're asking me to come back in 2030 and say I was wrong, I got two words for you. Get bent!
So guys, it's 2030, and in 2020 you said this, and I think you need to apologize.
I'll literally get on the video and I'll do this. Congratulations. You did it. It only took 20 years. But you persevered.
Persevered.
Hold
Determination.
On. Can you hear that violin? That's because there's not one! Fuck. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's about all the time we got for today, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out with us, tuning in, chilling. Have a nice night or day or whatever time it is when you're watching this. Of course,
don't forget to hit the like button.
Don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, all that good shit.
Somewhere right here.
No, it's below me. It's down here.
Is it up there?
No,
is it over there?
It's down here. Yeah,
there?
Down here.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys. TBR out.
Later.